Thank you very much, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. So now I think we'll bring everybody across the Pacific Ocean to Southeast Asia. I myself is from Malaysia. I'm just wondering how many of you has been to our part of the world? Oh, quite a number. That's good. So you are quite familiar with Southeast Asia. It's a very popular destination during the winter months because we have summer all year round. Okay, so yesterday I talked about the energy and water resources and how climate change impact upon these two resources in Southeast Asia. So today my talk will be on the health effect of climate change in our part of the world. Basically, I see that some of you have been to our part of the world, but just to reintroduce you to Southeast Asia, a little bit about the climate change based on the most recent assessment report, fifth assessment report, but I think Tony has also mentioned some fact about this. The health impact of climate change as it relates to our area. And then I would like to zoom in into extreme weather event, which I think is a threat in our part of the world and is becoming more prominent. I think you've heard about Typhoon Haiyan, Typhoon Najis, which have caused severe level of hardship, mortality, and morbidity, and some concluding remark. This is Southeast Asia. It's a group of 10 countries as listed there: Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, Indonesia, and Philippines. How this group came about is through the ASEAN, or Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So it's more of a political grouping rather than a geographical grouping. If you look at the WHO region, SEARO, Southeast Asia region, is a bit different from our classification of ASEAN. But basically, we are talking about countries that is south of China and east of India. Okay? So that's how I think the name came about, Southeast Asia. And this region is quite dynamic and quite varied in nature, geographically, historically, social, cultural, and economic diversity. You see countries that are very developed and advanced, like Singapore, and some of the lesser developed countries in the region. So its demographic and epidemiological transition are considered among the fastest in the world. Yesterday, I talked about the shifting of the global economy system to Asia. As you can see, many of the countries in this area are fast developing industrially and in terms of urbanization. So there's a lot of potential growth in this area. It is also has a peculiar geological setup. If you heard about the Pacific Rim of Fires, where we have earthquake, volcano, so there's nothing to do with climate change, but it is a very prone to hazard due to earthquake and volcanoes. And also in terms of climate change impact, this area is very prone to hydrometeorological hazard, typhoon, monsoon, floods, and also pollution that may come with these changes. And we believe that climate change and plus the economic development and urbanization could elevate or exacerbate the spread of endemic and emerging infectious diseases that are common to the area. We have malaria, we have dengue, we have chikungunya, filariasis, and all that, which are very vulnerable to the impact of climate change. I don't know whether you can see this from the back, but this is to show you the demographic of Southeast Asia. So we have countries that are very urban in setup, like Singapore is 100% urban. compared to less urban or more rural countries like Laos, 27% urban population, Cambodia, 15%. In terms of health, you can see the life expectancy in this area will vary from something like 56 years in Myanmar, 61 years in Cambodia, to 81 years in Singapore. Yeah? So it is very diverse in nature in terms of health demographic. Infant mortality in the single digit in countries like Brunei, Singapore, Malaysia, and as high as 50 and 42 per 1,000 live births in Cambodia and Myanmar. Yeah? So some of the countries in this region will be very vulnerable to the impact of climate change, especially when we talk about extreme events. Now, I think we are well past the scope of climate change and what it is doing to the world climate, and the observed changes, the observed climate change is unequivocal. There's no doubt about that. In the northern hemisphere, as mentioned by Tony, where the warming effect is the greatest, the warmest 30 years, the last 30 years has been the warmest since 1,400 years ago. And we are talking about land and ocean surface temperature warming effect of around 1 degree Celsius, and it may reach 2 or 3 degrees Celsius in the future. And the changes in many extreme weather and climate events has been observed since the 1950s. So now I would like to focus from now on the extreme event that may happen in our part of the world. Now, so we see a gradual temperature increase over the years, and Southeast Asia is in the red section of the global temperature map. And why Southeast Asia is a big concern is that it is prone to hydrometeorological hazard, as I mentioned, typhoon, monsoon, floods, and landslide. And as you can see from the list of the 10 nations, some of the countries have limited capacity for climate change adaptability. And we are very concerned, especially those countries that are very much rural in nature. And we have climate change sensitive infectious disease in the area which are endemic, and we foresee that this may evolve into something more prominent and drastic in the future. So each country is doing their little bit on trying to see what climate change is doing to our part of the world. In Malaysia, for example, we have limited capability of climate prediction, but we do have our National Hydraulic Research Institute that are doing research. We are seeing surface temperature increase of about 1 degree, and sea level rise is also observable. You know, this is what is already happening, and we foresee that by 2050 there might be a 1.5 degrees Celsius increase in surface temperature, and some areas of the country will experience more rain while others will experience less rain. Here we have the map that shows the future temperature increase up to 2,100. The bottom three reflect the seasonal increase up to 2,100 year. Okay. Now, Tony showed you a diagram of the health impact of climate change. This is another one that we've been working on to look at how the climate impact will result in disease outcome or health outcome. So we know that in climate change, we have positive radiative forcing, and there are also some negative radiative forcing due to aerosol pollution, which tend to cause a reduction in temperature. But of course, the overall net effect would be global warming or positive radiative forcing. Now, this would initially have its impact in terms of environmental modification, where you have increased surface temperature, ocean warming, altered wind pattern, and one of the things that I'll be talking about is extreme weather event. And from this environmental modification, we will foresee environmental impact, things like coastal flooding, vector propagation, vector disease propagation, flooding, drought, and finally we'll have the health outcome, which are depicted in those yellow boxes, and you will see that most of the disease outcome or health outcome are related to infectious diseases like vector-borne, rodent, waterborne, and so on. But there are also non-infectious disease outcome like malnutrition, thermal stress, injury and death from extreme weather event, and so on. And we see there, if you look at the diagram on the right, the model shows that this disease pattern is strongly affected by previous disease cases, as well as meteorological variables like mean temperature, rainfall, and relative humidity. Initially, we thought that with more rainfall, you will get Aedes breeding, but it seems that higher temperature are associated. Maybe it affects on human behavior. When the weather warms and there is a dry season in the area, people tend to store water, to collect water, which propagate Aedes breeding. And there is also speculation that with warmer temperature, the viral replication in the mosquito will be more enhanced, leading to higher rapid transmission. Yeah. We also did expert group consultation meeting to look at the potential impact of climate change in an area like the Mekong Delta. The Mekong is the longest river in Southeast Asia. And we feel that looking at climate change alone would not do justice to the prediction. We have to also look at factors that bring about environmental changes other than climate change, which would be economic development, urbanization, and so on. So if you look at an example there on water pollution, of course, population pressures, development, industrialization will impact on water pollution, but climate change will also produce its impact there. So we are talking in an area like Southeast Asia, where it is very dynamic and is growing very fast. You will have the combined effect of both development, industrialization, urbanization, as well as climate change. Yeah? One thing that I would like to point out here is the impact of climate change on sea level rise and saltwater intrusion. This is quite observable now, especially in the Mekong Delta, causing soil salination, and it is causing the propagation of a type of malaria-carrying mosquito, which is Anopheles sandaicus. You see that the Anopheles sandaicus is distributed in the coastal area of Southeast Asia, and it persists in saline environment. So as salinity of the coastal area increase, we are expecting an increased propagation of this malaria mosquito. Yeah, there are other malaria mosquito, but this particular one affect the coastal area. Now, how much time do I have? 5 minutes, 7 minutes? Okay, good. Climate change and extreme event. I would like to focus now on the extreme event. The changing climate will affect basic requirement for maintaining health. Yes, clean air, water, sufficient food, and shelter. And globally, we know that diseases like malnutrition, diarrhea, and poor sanitation are already killing a number of the world population. So what we foresee that a warmer climate giving rise to extreme weather condition will exacerbate this, will increase the deaths related to malnutrition, diarrhea, and air pollution. We know that extreme weather events are getting more frequent and more severe in all parts of the world. Yeah? And Southeast Asia is not spared by this event. You can see here the major Asian urban location in 2011. We have most of the population concentrated in the coastal area. This is not just Southeast Asia, including China and India. And the risk of, 1 minute is, the risk level of hazard or vulnerability to hydrometeorological hazard. Okay? So most of the population of Asia, including Southeast Asia, are located in areas that are very prone to typhoon, monsoons, and so on. Okay? Extreme weather event in Southeast Asia, we are talking about typhoon, severe flood, precipitation extreme. We have the impact of the El Nino and La Nina, the drought related to El Nino and heavy rainfall, La Nina, wildfire during the droughts, forest fire, temperature extreme, and so on. You've heard about Typhoon Najis, which hit mainly Myanmar or Burma, but also part of India, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, with wind in excess of 200 kilometers per hour. And it has led to over 130,000 deaths, yeah? And over US 10 billion loss of property. So that was one of the most severe super typhoon that has hit our part of the world. Recently, we have the Typhoon Haiyan, which incidentally is more powerful than Najis, but fortunately, only 6,000 deaths occurred. Maybe the area that was impacted was smaller in nature. In Malaysia, Thailand, and Singapore, we have experienced this severe El Nino event. Yeah? In this part of the world, you get heavy rainfall, but during the El Nino year, in our part of the world, we get severe drought, and it has led to widespread forest fire and very severe air pollution episode in excess of 500 microgram per meter cube of PM10. Yeah? So that is very, very high level of pollution. Extreme event in Malaysia, yeah, flooding mainly. Now, you can see that Asia Pacific is very prone to natural disaster. You can see that 3/4 of the global disaster fatality occurs in the Asia Pacific region, mainly in South and Southwest Asia, but also in Southeast Asia, about 400,000. But this is not only due to climate change impact, hydrometeorological, but also due to earthquake and volcano. How extreme event will threaten public health? This is based on the severity of the event. We have, for example, typhoon wind in excess of 120 miles per hour will cause severe damage. How long it occurred, duration, I think Najis occurred over quite a significant amount of duration. And what is important is the surprise nature. Yeah, we have limited warning capability of this extreme event, and that caught many people by surprise. The nature of the population, as I showed the demographic, yeah, many of these Southeast Asian region are highly densely populated. Many people are young of age, yeah, so they will be very, very vulnerable to extreme event. Poor health status in some of the countries, many are in the rural setting, and of course poverty. Yeah? Poverty, most of the area are of low socioeconomic status, and therefore they are very vulnerable. So in terms of the impact on extreme weather event, we have direct and indirect public health impact. Of course, the direct impact would be in terms of disease and mortality, but also not discounting the mental health impact. Yeah, we have post-traumatic stress disorder, and this may linger on for many, many years to come. Yeah? In some areas, people have lost their entire family member due to this event. This is a bit different. As I mentioned, WHO Sierra region include Bangladesh, India, and Indonesia. But in total, if you look at the WHO Sierra region, we have between 1970 and 2008, almost close to 1 million, 790,000 fatality. In Myanmar, you can see there is 138. I believe that occurred in 2008 from Najis typhoon alone. Yeah? Of course, we may also have indirect impact from extreme weather event. These are less observable and take time to develop, but we have a loss of access to critical resources like clean water, shelter, and also restricted access to supply of medicine and medical facilities. Okay? So in conclusion, the health effect of climate change in South Asia have not been adequately assessed. There's a lot of more work for us to do to assess our vulnerability and how we can adapt to this climate change event. One of the lacking capacity we have is in climate prediction. I know the IPCC does the global prediction, but we still need to downscale to the local prediction on how it may be relevant to our area. Many of the countries in this area are highly prone to hydrometeorological hazard, so we are focusing on the impact of extreme weather event. When we talk about adaptive capacity, we have to think about the less fortunate, the marginalized population in certain Southeast Asian country, but also in Malaysia, we have a group of population that are highly vulnerable and marginalized. And we do have some political mechanism, not as sophisticated as for example, the EU, but we do have what we call the ASEAN, or Association of Southeast Asian Nations. And we believe this would be a platform that can be mobilized to help countries in this area prepare for the future impact of climate change. With that, I end my talk. Thank you very much.